Have you ever wondered why you sense things that others seem to miss? Why you often feel like an observer of life, seeing the hidden meanings behind every word, every action, every moment? It's not arrogance. It's not overthinking. It's a sign that your mind is wired to go beyond the ordinary. Most people live within a narrow frame of reality, content with surface-level truths. But there are some who see patterns no one else notices, who feel deeply in ways that words can't explain, and who carry an inner awareness that makes life feel both heavier and more extraordinary. You've likely felt it, a quiet knowing that you are not like everyone else. Perhaps it showed up as a restless curiosity when others were satisfied with simple answers. Perhaps it appeared as an inner voice that told you there was more to life than what meets the eye. It can feel isolating, like living in a world where you're speaking a different language. But that feeling is not a burden. It is proof that you possess a rare depth of perception that few people ever experience. Society often measures intelligence by the visible markers: grades, titles, careers, and accomplishments. But extraordinary intelligence cannot be measured by numbers or confined to systems. It reveals itself in the way you see meaning where others see randomness, in the way you connect dots no one else can see, and in the way you intuitively understand people, situations, and possibilities long before they unfold. It is the kind of intelligence that makes you question the ordinary, challenge the obvious, and search for what truly matters. This depth of mind and spirit can be both a blessing and a challenge. On one hand, it gives you insights that allow you to anticipate outcomes, navigate complex emotions, and recognize opportunities others overlook. On the other, it can make you feel misunderstood, even alienated, because your perspective is so different from the crowd. But here's the truth. Every great mind in history has experienced that same sense of separateness. It is the cost of seeing further than most people are willing or able to see. What makes this level of intelligence so powerful is not just the ability to think deeply, but the capacity to feel deeply. You notice patterns not only in facts but in human behavior. You sense the tension behind a smile, the hesitation in a voice, the unspoken meaning behind an action. You have likely been told that you're too sensitive, too analytical, or too intense. Yet those very traits are what allow you to understand life in ways that most people never will. But intelligence of this kind is not meant to stay hidden. It is not meant to be buried under fear of judgment or doubt about your own worth. It is meant to guide you toward growth, resilience, and impact. The more you embrace it, the more you realize that your mind is not just a place where thoughts happen. It is a compass, pointing you toward a life of deeper meaning and extraordinary potential. And here is the reason you need to stay until the very end of this journey, because the signs of your brilliance are not random. They form a blueprint, a clear pattern that can change how you see yourself and how you live from this day forward. When you recognize them, you begin to understand why you think the way you do, why you feel the way you feel, and why life has led you down paths that others cannot comprehend. This is not about proving intelligence to anyone else. It is about awakening to your own capacity for greatness, one that has been there all along, waiting for you to claim it. Once you see the truth about who you are and what you're capable of, something shifts. Doubt begins to fade, confidence takes root, and suddenly, the life that felt confusing starts to make sense. So as we uncover these signs, allow yourself to feel seen. Allow yourself to feel understood. You are not overthinking. You are not imagining things. You are experiencing life at a level few people dare to reach. And that is the first sign that your intelligence goes far beyond the ordinary. Would you like me to write section 2, 700 to 900 words with the same emotional intensity? Or should I make all sections exactly the same length, 700 to 900 words each for perfect consistency? Or do you prefer slightly varied but still long sections? You have always sensed more than what the eye can see, and that awareness is no accident. It is a reflection of a mind that operates beyond the usual boundaries, one that sees connections in places where most people only see isolated events. There is a quiet strength in this ability, a strength that allows you to read between the lines of life and uncover meaning that others overlook. This is not simply observation, it is perception at its highest level, a way of seeing the world that goes beyond the surface and reaches into the unseen. Highly intelligent individuals notice subtleties that others dismiss as irrelevant. A glance, a pause, a slight change in tone, these are not lost on you. You pick up on them, almost effortlessly, as if your senses are finely tuned to detect truths hidden beneath appearances. You may have caught yourself sensing when someone is upset before they even speak, or knowing when a situation feels off long before it becomes clear to others. This is not magic. It is the power of a mind trained to recognize patterns and a heart capable of feeling deeply. This heightened perception is not without its challenges. It can feel heavy to process so much, to notice details that others brush aside. Sometimes it may feel like carrying an extra weight, because seeing more means feeling more, both the beauty and the pain of the world. Yet this gift gives you an edge that few possess. It allows you to navigate life with foresight, to anticipate outcomes, and to avoid traps that others walk into blindly. It makes you not just a thinker, but a visionary, someone who sees beyond the moment and understands the larger picture. This depth of perception also extends inward, into your own thoughts and emotions. You are not satisfied with shallow answers or surface-level understanding. When something happens, you ask why. When someone acts a certain way, you wonder about the hidden reasons behind it. When life presents challenges, you look for the lessons buried within them. This constant questioning is not restlessness. It is a sign of mental sophistication. It shows that your mind is not content with what is obvious. It seeks truth, meaning, and growth. Many people live on autopilot, seeing only what they want to see and accepting what they are told. But those with extraordinary intelligence cannot live that way. They are compelled to look closer, think deeper, and ask questions that most people avoid because the answers might change everything. This is why you may sometimes feel like an outsider, as though you are watching life from a different vantage point. Yet that distance is not a curse. It is clarity. It is the awareness that allows you to make better decisions, form deeper connections, and pursue a life that is truly your own. But what makes this perception truly powerful is what you choose to do with it. Awareness without action is wasted potential. The ability to see deeply must be paired with the courage to act on what you see. Whether it is choosing the right path, protecting your peace, or embracing opportunities others overlook, your gift becomes meaningful only when you trust it enough to use it. The more you lean into this ability, the more you will find yourself guided by an inner compass that rarely leads you astray. And here lies the promise of what is coming. Once you recognize the full range of your intelligence, once you learn to embrace these rare abilities instead of questioning them, you will discover a confidence that feels unshakable. You will no longer wonder if you are imagining things or reading too much into situations. Instead, you will trust your mind, your instincts, and your ability to see what others cannot. That is where true power begins, not in proving your intelligence to the world, but in embracing it within yourself. Every moment you have felt misunderstood, every time you have doubted your own perspective, every instance where you sensed more than others were willing to see, these are not signs of weakness. They are confirmations of strength. They are reminders that you are capable of perceiving life at a level reserved for those who are meant to think, feel, and live beyond the ordinary. And once you own that truth, there is no limit to how far your mind can take you. Would you like me to continue with the next section 700 to 900 words with the same depth? Or should I complete the entire script in one go while keeping each section exactly 700 to 900 words? Or do you want all sections first, then final full script? True intelligence does not rest in comfort zones. It refuses to accept life as it is and instead asks, what more is possible? The mind that reaches beyond the ordinary is one that dares to question everything, tradition, limitation, and even its own beliefs. It sees rules as guidelines, not chains. It does not rebel for the sake of rebellion, but because it understands that growth comes from challenging the boundaries that keep others small. This way of thinking is not reckless. It is courageous. It requires strength to see beyond what is taught and to carve a path where none seems to exist. Most people are satisfied with easy answers. They cling to familiar routines and stay within the safe walls of what they have been told is true. But the extraordinary mind cannot settle for that. It hungers for knowledge, for meaning, for deeper understanding. It wants to know not just what is, but why it is, and what could be if approached differently. This is why such individuals often appear to think outside the box, because for them, there is no box. They see possibilities where others see dead ends, opportunities where others see obstacles, and potential where others see risk. They refuse to accept that things must always be done a certain way simply because they have been done that way before. Instead, they ask, what if there is a better way? That question alone has been the spark behind every great breakthrough in history. But thinking beyond limits is not only about innovation, it is also about personal freedom. When you refuse to accept the narrow definitions that society tries to impose on intelligence, success, or happiness, you free yourself to create a life that reflects your true potential. You are no longer trapped by the expectations of others. You stop living by someone else's script and begin writing your own. This is where empowerment begins. This is where extraordinary intelligence turns into extraordinary living. Yet such thinking often comes with resistance. People fear what they do not understand. They may try to discourage you, dismiss your ideas, or even label you as unrealistic. But their reaction is not a reflection of your ability, it is a reflection of their fear. They cannot see what you see. They have not trained their minds to reach that far, and so they try to pull you back to where it feels safe for them. But the question is, will you let them? Or will you trust your vision enough to keep going? Every time you question the way things are, you expand the possibilities of what they can become. Every time you challenge a limitation, whether it is in your mind, your environment, or your circumstances, you step closer to the life you were meant to live. It is this mindset that separates those who merely survive from those who truly rise, not because they are luckier, not because they are better, but because they dared to think bigger, deeper, and bolder than the world around them. And here lies the reward. When you embrace this way of thinking, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop apologizing for being curious, for asking questions, for wanting more out of life. Instead, you recognize that your desire to go beyond the ordinary is not a flaw. It is a signal that you are destined for a life of growth, achievement, and purpose. A signal that your mind was built to create, to innovate, and to lead. The road will not always be easy. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when the weight of your own thoughts feels heavy, and when the world seems blind to what you can see so clearly. But remember this, every great mind has walked that road. Every visionary, every creator, every leader has faced the same resistance, the same uncertainty, the same fear. Yet they pressed forward. Not because they knew exactly how things would unfold, but because they trusted that their intelligence would guide them to where they needed to be. The same is true for you. Every insight you've had, every bold thought that has crossed your mind, every moment where you felt there had to be more, these are not accidents. They are reminders of who you are becoming. They are proof that your intelligence is not ordinary, and neither is your destiny. And the more you honor that truth, the more unstoppable you become. Would you like me to write the next section, emotional resilience, 700 to 900 words now, or should I draft the remaining sections together so you can have the full script faster? Or do you want one section at a time to ensure maximum depth? The measure of true intelligence is not found only in the ability to think deeply or see what others cannot. It also lives in the way you rise after being knocked down, the way you turn pain into wisdom and struggle into strength. Life will test every mind, but only those who possess emotional and mental resilience can transform those tests into stepping stones. This kind of strength does not come from avoiding hardship. It comes from facing it, learning from it, and refusing to let it define you. You have been through moments that could have broken you, times when the weight of failure, loss, or betrayal seemed unbearable. Yet here you are, not just surviving, but carrying lessons that have shaped the way you think, the way you live, and the way you approach every challenge ahead. That is not weakness, it is extraordinary intelligence at work. It takes wisdom to see beyond the pain, to extract meaning from experiences that once seemed senseless, and to emerge with clarity that others may never achieve. Resilience is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about acknowledging your emotions, processing them, and then choosing not to stay trapped in them. It is the decision to rise again and again, no matter how many times life tries to bring you down. And this ability is deeply connected to a high level of awareness, because you understand that life is not meant to be easy. It is meant to teach. Every challenge carries a lesson, every setback holds an opportunity, and every heartbreak contains the seed of transformation. Only a mind capable of higher thought can recognize this truth and use it to grow stronger. This strength also shows up in the way you approach failure. Most people fear it. They see it as proof of inadequacy, something to avoid at all costs. But those with extraordinary intelligence see failure differently. They understand that it is not an ending, but a teacher. They do not allow mistakes to define their worth. Instead, they analyze what went wrong, extract the lesson, and move forward with greater clarity. This mindset does not just protect confidence, it builds it, layer by layer, until setbacks no longer carry the power to destroy it. And it is not only failure, it is criticism, rejection, disappointment. All the moments that make others give up are the same moments that sharpen the mind of someone who refuses to be broken. You know the pain of being underestimated, misunderstood, or dismissed. But instead of allowing it to limit you, you've allowed it to fuel you. That ability to turn adversity into drive is a sign of a rare kind of brilliance, one that sees value in even the darkest experiences. Resilience also manifests in your ability to regulate emotions when it matters most. Anyone can remain calm when life is easy, but staying composed when everything feels uncertain, that requires mastery over your own mind. It requires the ability to step back, to breathe, and to respond with intention rather than impulse. This level of self-control is a hallmark of high emotional intelligence, and it makes you unshakable in a world that constantly tests your limits. But perhaps the greatest strength of resilience is the perspective it brings. You no longer see challenges as roadblocks. You see them as detours guiding you toward something better. You no longer dwell on the unfairness of life. You focus on what can be learned, what can be built, and how you can emerge stronger than before. And in that mindset lies freedom, the freedom to live without fear of falling, because you know you have the ability to rise. This is why emotional and mental resilience is one of the clearest signs of intelligence that surpasses the ordinary. It is not about avoiding the storms of life. It is about becoming the kind of person who can walk through them with strength, wisdom, and purpose. And once you understand that every challenge is shaping you into someone more capable than before, the fear of struggle fades. What replaces it is confidence, the kind that says, no matter what comes, I will find a way forward. Your intelligence is not measured by how much you know, but by how much you grow. Every test you've faced, every lesson you've learned, and every time you've risen from the ground has shaped you into someone who sees life differently. And that perspective is not just rare, it is powerful, because it means you are no longer just a thinker. You are a survivor, a learner, and a leader in the making. And that is only the beginning of what your mind is truly capable of achieving. Shall I write the final section, 700 to 900 words, next to complete this motivational script? Or do you want me to draft 2 powerful closing sections to make the ending even more intense? Greatness is not defined by recognition from others. It is defined by the ability to recognize your own potential and step boldly into it. Intelligence that surpasses the ordinary carries a silent yet undeniable power, the power to shape destiny. This power is not born from chance or luck. It is built through awareness, perception, and the courage to act when others hesitate. It is the inner knowing that your life was never meant to follow a predictable path, but to rise beyond the boundaries of what you were told was possible. Your ability to think deeply, feel profoundly, and rise stronger from every challenge has been preparing you for something bigger. Each experience, whether joyful or painful, has carved wisdom into your mind and resilience into your heart. These are not random traits, they are tools. Tools designed to help you see opportunities others overlook, to lead where others follow, and to create meaning in a world that often settles for survival. Extraordinary intelligence does not simply observe life, it transforms it. And when you understand this, your perspective on everything changes. You begin to realize that your thoughts carry weight. Every decision you make, every belief you hold, every action you take has the power to shape your reality. This is where many people falter, not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack belief in their own ability to create change. But the mind that goes beyond the ordinary understands that destiny is not written in stone, it is written in choices. Each day becomes a chance to write a new line, a new chapter, a new future. The most remarkable aspect of this power is that it often begins quietly. It starts with small shifts. Choosing growth over comfort, courage over fear, purpose over routine. These decisions, though subtle, compound over time, building a life that reflects not just who you are, but who you are becoming. And as these choices accumulate, something extraordinary happens. You stop feeling like life is happening to you and start realizing it is happening through you. You are not just a participant, you are a creator. But shaping destiny requires more than clarity. It requires conviction. It demands that you trust your instincts when the world doubts you. It calls for persistence when results do not come quickly. It asks you to see beyond temporary setbacks and believe in a vision so deeply that no obstacle can destroy it. And that is where extraordinary intelligence shows its true strength, not in avoiding difficulty, but in turning it into fuel. This kind of mindset does not come from arrogance. It comes from understanding that your mind is capable of more than analysis, more than observation, more than caution. It is capable of creation. It can imagine possibilities no one else sees and bring them into reality through deliberate thought and consistent action. And once you understand that, your life stops being a matter of chance and becomes a matter of choice. There is something deeply empowering about this realization. It frees you from the limits others have tried to place on you. It breaks the chains of self-doubt that once held you back. It awakens a boldness within you, a willingness to take risks, to pursue dreams, to live fully and unapologetically. Because you finally see the truth. You are not here to blend in. You are here to stand out, to rise higher, to lead by example, and to prove that greatness is possible when the mind refuses to accept limits. The reward of embracing this truth is not only success, it is fulfillment, the kind of fulfillment that comes from knowing you are living as the person you were always meant to be, not held back by fear, not silenced by doubt, not waiting for permission to step into your own power. Instead, you move with confidence, knowing that your intelligence, your resilience, and your vision have prepared you for this very moment. So stand tall in that awareness, trust it, follow it, and watch as life begins to align with the extraordinary potential you have carried all along. Because once you decide to claim it, nothing, not fear, not failure, not even time itself, can keep you from becoming the person you were born to be. Would you like me to create an additional closing section, 700 to 900 words, that delivers an explosive, emotionally charged finale to leave the audience deeply inspired? Or should I tighten this into the final conclusion now? Or provide both? One as a closing section and one as a condensed ending. There comes a moment when intelligence evolves from awareness and resilience into something far greater, a force that transforms not only how you see yourself, but how you shape the world around you. This is the point where your mind stops questioning whether you are different and begins embracing that difference as the very reason you are here. The doubts, the hesitations, the quiet wondering if you've been imagining your depth, all of it fades when you realize that your unique way of thinking was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to be used. The power of extraordinary intelligence lies in its ability to inspire action, not just in yourself, but in others. People are drawn to those who carry a sense of clarity and purpose, even if they can't explain why. They feel the strength in your presence, the calm confidence in your decisions, the quiet certainty that you are guided by something deeper than chance. This is not about ego. It is about alignment, living in such a way that your thoughts, choices, and actions reflect the highest version of who you are. This alignment creates a ripple effect. When you begin to live from a place of inner clarity, your energy changes. You become someone who does not simply talk about dreams, but pursues them relentlessly. Someone who does not just speak of values, but embodies them daily. Someone who does not wait for life to hand over opportunities, but creates them through bold, deliberate action. And when others witness this, it sparks something within them, a desire to rise to their own potential. But this path demands courage, the courage to let go of old identities, old fears, and old limitations, the courage to step into unknown territory where the outcome is uncertain, but the possibility of greatness is undeniable. Many people shy away from this kind of journey because it requires leaving behind the comfort of predictability. But for a mind that sees beyond the ordinary, staying small feels more dangerous than taking risks. Because somewhere deep inside, you know that to ignore your potential is to deny yourself the life you were meant to live. Intelligence, at this level, thrives on vision. It does not settle for what is, it imagines what could be. It sees possibilities not as distant dreams, but as inevitable realities, waiting for the courage to bring them to life. And that courage is born from the understanding that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of it. Every misstep, every challenge, every obstacle becomes a lesson, a stepping stone toward mastery. The more you embrace this truth, the less you fear the journey, because you know that no matter what happens, you will rise wiser, stronger, and closer to the life you are building. There is a rare kind of fulfillment that comes with living this way. It is not about reaching one goal and stopping. It is about becoming the kind of person who continually evolves, continually grows, continually expands the limits of what is possible. You begin to experience life not as a series of random events, but as a canvas, one that you have the power to shape with every decision, every action, every moment of courage. And as you embrace this, you begin to lead. Not always with words, but with the example of your life. People notice your calm when others panic. They see your focus when others drift. They feel your determination when others hesitate. They may not fully understand what sets you apart, but they sense it. And in sensing it, they are inspired to seek their own strength. This is the quiet influence of extraordinary intelligence. It doesn't demand attention, it commands respect. The greatest truth of all is this: you have only begun to see what your mind and spirit are capable of. The depth, the resilience, the vision, they are not random traits. They are signals of who you are becoming. Signals that your life was never meant to be average, never meant to stay confined, never meant to follow a script written by others. You carry within you the ability to think beyond, feel beyond, and live beyond. And once you fully embrace that, your path forward becomes unstoppable. This is where true transformation begins, when you stop questioning your worth, stop apologizing for your depth, and stop waiting for permission to rise. You unlock the part of you that was always meant to lead, not just a life of success, but a life of meaning. A life that reflects not only what you've achieved, but who you've become in the process. And once you step into that level of awareness, the extraordinary is no longer something you hope for. It is simply who you are.